Hi, Dylan Evans here from Simple Salt, and I would like to talk to you today about some of the advice you see from popular news agencies about security. I've said before, it's kind of ridiculous and it's rarely helpful and sometimes misleading. Today, we're going to look through a recent article from a local news station and take it apart. I think this will be instructive for some of you because you hear these myths a lot about what the best way to improve your security is. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. All right. Well, I have found a recent article here from a local affiliate of Fox in Indiana, and we're going to be reviewing it. It's by Elena Stidham. Please don't give Elena any grief. She's probably a staff reporter and not a professional cybersecurity expert, and is probably just repeating what my industry has said for security best practices. Let's get into it. All right. We are starting with some, let's zoom in because we don't, oh boy. So you can see it. We start with some security is important. Oh, October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. So that's probably why they're doing this. And this always seems goofy to me. A lot of people really like Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Personally, I think cybersecurity should be something you're thoughtful about, along with other risks you consider. You don't have patent infringement July, or consider paying your employees what they're due June, or other standard business risks. Don't get their own months. You should be thoughtful about your cybersecurity, review it on a regular basis, but it doesn't need a month. All right. True things, general front matter, bad things happen. Oh, they call out Zoom. Yeah, well, if you use Zoom, you might be sending your stuff to China. They're a Chinese company, and if that bothers you, maybe you should consider using a different platform to do your meetings with. Personally, nothing I say is very secret. So I don't mind Zoom. Applications that have many security features such as Slack. Slack does not have many security features. It's all right, don't get me wrong, it's pretty decent, but it is not that much better than Zoom. All right. If you're interested in the most secure meeting platforms, let me know and we can talk about that. But Slack and Zoom are not two of them. All right. So this one is focusing on people working from home and their security. All right. I generally agree with a lot of this. Oh, first one, pay attention to phishing. Excellent. Great advice. Personally, I don't pay a lot of attention to phishing because I have set things up ahead of time so that phishing is not a problem for me. I don't get phishing emails. My spam filters are pretty aggressive, and I have other mechanisms that I've set up so that even if I do fall for a phish, it's not going to be a problem for me. I'm not gonna put my passwords into a bad place, a fake site, because I don't type passwords anymore. I use a password manager to fake an SSO. You can watch a video about that. All right. All right, some dead giveaways of phishing include these things. This is true, but this is actually not a good or helpful thing, because the phishers put those spelling mistakes in intentionally because they don't want smart people clicking on the link. They want idiots, the people that don't notice anything. They want someone who's real gullible clicking on the link, because if that person clicks on the link and gets through and gets on the phone with some crime ring call center, they want someone who's not going to waste that call center person's time. They want someone who can get on the phone, get bilked out of a lot of money, and then get off the phone for maximum profit. So this is intentional. So recommending that you pay close attention to these sorts of things, kind of helpful, but man, I got a lot of business partners that also make spelling mistakes. So this to me is not a very strong indicator. The best ways of preventing phishing, as we've covered before, are get a good email provider that filters that stuff out for you. Don't type passwords anymore, and make sure your devices are strong. That's going to do really well. Download security software and firewall protection. Well, this one's a funny one. What are they advising here? Ooh, Norton. So Norton doesn't do anything. Norton hasn't done anything in 10 years. It used to do stuff back when signature-based antiviruses were helpful, but hasn't done anything in a long time. You're better off with the one that Microsoft packages with your Windows computer. You are on a patched computer, right? And if you're on a Linux machine or a Chromebook or a Mac, there's no reason to get an antivirus. And a firewall. Ooh, they describe firewalls with, like, Elena is giving us a fun example of how a firewall works. A firewall is not like a shield. A firewall is more like the security guard at a military installation. That person has strict instructions to check who's authorized to come and go, and what's in their book and who's authorized to come and go is absolutely what they follow. They don't do anything creative. In the same way, an antivirus is less like a shield or battle. This is more like someone trying to get into your house. That's how you should think about security, not like fighting in Roman times. And Norton is more like a security guard that you hire to guard your house, and he sits inside. But that dude has problems and is on shrooms and has a history of opening windows and doors for people that he should not. That even if he wasn't there, would not have been a problem in the first place. So not actually helpful. Just get the one from Windows. If you want a really good antivirus, hit me up and we'll talk about it. But for most people, the Defender from Windows, the free one, works great. Third, secure private Wi-Fi. No, absolutely not. This is helping nobody. If your security relies on private Wi-Fi, you're doing it wrong. You need to use encryption to talk to your websites to prevent your secrets from being stolen. See this connection is secure. If you're using Chrome, Chrome is pretty aggressive about bothering you about what it is keeping secret. If you are on public Wi-Fi or you're in like some coffee shop with an evil person scraping everybody's data that's using that Wi-Fi, all that person will know is that you went, or I went, to fox59news.com and maybe that I looked at this particular article, but they don't know anything I put in a form. They don't know where I clicked. They don't know how long I spent there necessarily. But the specifics about what you say are encrypted in a secret connection between you and Fox 59 or anywhere else that's encrypted. This does not help if you're using the internet in the way almost everybody does. Okay. VPNs will be able to keep data private even in a public setting. No, they will not. Encryption keeps your data private. A VPN helps you with faking being a different person or faking being in a different country. So if you want to watch Monday Night Football and you're in a region that's locked, then maybe they want you to buy an extra package or something, VPN can help with that. If you're buying drugs and you're going to buy them on cokeforcheap.com, a VPN might help the people in between not know that you're wanting to buy drugs. But it doesn't help with the security of your data to valid sites. I mean, what's Comcast going to do to me about knowing that I visit Fox 59 News at, I don't know, whatever time it is today? Next, use strong passwords and enable two-factor authentication. This is pretty good, but there's an implicit lie here that you need to remember all the passwords. This is a terrible trap to get into. Don't buy it. Watch our earlier video about it. The best way to manage your passwords and manage authentication is to create random strings of gibberish, store them in your password manager, and use those to log in. Never remember a password, never type a password. Two-factor authentication is great. Multi-factor authentication is the generic principle that drives that. We'll talk later about that in another video. Elena doesn't describe it either. It can get a little complicated, and there's definite strengths. Some methods are better than others. The best way to authenticate at all is using an SSO, one of those log in with Google, log in with Microsoft. Those are great mechanisms for really securely logging in, and it leverages the strength of the login that you're using. So if you've already logged into Gmail with multi-factor, maybe you trust that device, and then you say, I want to log into Canva with my Google identity. Canva is just as strong as your Google login. So, and that eliminates a lot of this annoying, because you can just log into Canva with your Google login and there's no extra steps. You don't even need to type anything. And then you get the bonus of fancy math that I won't ever describe on this channel. Okay. Password selection. This is terrible advice, but fair enough, it's pretty common. Most of you are going to be bad, like I'm bad, at being truly random. So you want to go to a passphrase generator site and generate one. It can have spaces. It doesn't need to have spaces. That's not the hard part. The math and the magic comes from there being 4 truly random words. So it's going to spit out something like giraffe, anvil, swim, chicken. But much more random than that, because I got 2 animals or something. And then you're just going to memorize that and use that if you need to type an actual password. All right. Last thing here, she recommends changing your password often. No, don't change your password. If you're doing this right and you have strong passwords, and if you're not typing passwords in the first place, doesn't matter. Don't change your passwords on every month or every 2 months. Bonus, all of the advice I'm giving you here is recognized as good advice by the US federal government, and it's documented. You can read about it yourself in NIST 863B. Great document, love that document. Really forward-thinking advice out of the federal government. Yeah, I just said that. Okay, next one, block and report. Kinda. There's some advantages, but they're not very big. Blocking and reporting is helpful in big businesses only, and it really never benefits you. It only benefits other people. What it does is it sends a message to your company's security team. It shows them a copy of the email that you thought was spam, and then they get to look at it and decide, well, is it truly spam? And sometimes these phishing rings, these crime rings, will send out kind of a targeted email to maybe 500 people at a company, accounts payable, accounts receivable, because they're trying to like defraud. And so they send this bulk email. Well, if one person reports it, then the security team, if they're quick, can see it and then reach into everybody else's inbox and pull out that phishing email. So nobody else has to deal with it and nobody else can get tricked. Now, the obvious caveat to this is only helpful if your company has a big enough security department that they've got someone looking for things like this. Gmail also has a phishing button, and I think they use it. Their internal security department uses it to block. They do fancy things about blocking certain havens of hackers and phishers, but it's not going to help you out. Have backups. This is really good, but what you should do is not back things up. What you should do is only put your data on platforms that have really strong, automatic, foolproof backup mechanisms. The 2 most common kinds are, for regular people, are Microsoft Office, the Office 365 suite, if you have a folder synced to a OneDrive, that just keeps a million versions. So if ransomware or bad things happen, someone evil gets in and deletes it, they cannot trash it. You would have to not notice it for like 60 days before the deleted files or roll off. The other major one is Gmail. G Suite has a very similar function. It doesn't have as strong a version control, so you can't like walk the version forward and back if you're wondering like who did what now to this document. So in that sense, it's not nearly as strong. It's still incredibly resilient. Like you'd have to nuke half the planet before your documents on Gmail or on G Suite are gone. One third minor component to one third platform that has really strong resilience is GitHub. Most of you don't use that, but for those who do, no, it's kind of in the same bucket. So if you write code for a living, just put it on GitHub, or it's going to be more resilient than you will ever be able to achieve with an on-prem code repository. All right, and then we've got what looks like some cliches at the end. The most powerful weapon in an arsenal is knowledge. Yeah, sure. So that's why I'm here, to educate you all on the best ways of doing this. Cybersecurity does not have to be hard. There are some easy things, easy ways to resist security attacks. If you have questions about what I've presented today or any other security topics, please leave a comment below. I'd love to talk to you about your security risk and find you solutions to resolve it. Pero hay su dificultad en cuanto a su ejecución.